In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a stylized Hollow Knight environment in Blender inspired by Greenpath, where you meet Hornet for the first time. In the last video, we went step by step through the process on how to create the Hornet model, so if you haven't seen that, the link is in the description. This video will be focusing on the environment to put her in. Hey everyone, I'm MagicNotIncluded, a self-taught 3D artist in progress. I started learning Blender roughly around 4 months ago, and I've been sharing my journey along the way. I'm by no means an expert, so there's likely easier and more efficient ways to do things, but I figured I'd at least share what I learned with you. I'll try to make this as easy to follow along with as possible. That being said, let's go. So for this scene, we really just need to sell the illusion that we're in Greenpath, so some things are gonna look a little weird until we get them all put together. So we're gonna start by making some of the bushes in the background. Now there are several ways to make a bush in Blender, but this is just one of the ways that I kind of figured out. Go ahead and add a plane. Once you have the plane, rotate it on the x-axis by 90 degrees, and then add a subdivision surface modifier. I turn mine up to level 2. Tab into edit mode and make sure that proportional editing is on. And we're gonna go ahead and kind of push and pull and distort this shape that we made to make it look leaf-like. Add a solidify modifier to your leaf. I just bumped up the thickness to like 0.01 just to give it a little bit of thickness. And then right click and shade smooth. Once you're happy with the shape, go ahead and add a new material and then just give it a color that you want. I'm gonna go ahead and do the screen color. We're gonna make a few of these leaves so we have some variety. Once you're happy with your first leaf, go ahead and select it and then press Shift D to duplicate it. Now we're gonna go ahead and assign a new material to this leaf, and we can go ahead and give this more of a purple color. And if you look at the reference picture, there's some blues, some greens, a little bit of purples, and some other colors mixed in, and we're gonna go ahead and add those to get some variety. Now keep in mind, when we add lighting, it's going to look a lot better. At this point, I recommend going into sculpt mode and use the grab brush and just kind of pull around the shapes of the leaves so they're not all exactly the same. That'll give you some more variety and you'll thank yourself later. And we're gonna go ahead and assign this one a slightly different green color just to give it even more variety. Now make sure you select all your leaves and then press M to move them all to a new collection. This step's pretty important for a step later on, so make sure you do this. And label it something like leaf base or something that you can remember and find easily later on. Now go ahead and put the leaf base that we just created aside for now, and we're gonna make the rocky floor for the scene. We're gonna do something pretty cool. So go ahead and add a cube, scale it down. Now the cube's gonna be roughly the size of each individual rock that you're gonna make. So we're gonna go ahead and add an array modifier to it. Now bump up the count to something like 15 and then make sure you apply the modifier. And then we're gonna add another array modifier. Also bump the count up to 15 or whatever you used for the first one. And then we're going to move the factor X to 0 and the factor Y up to 1 and apply that modifier as well. So it looks like one solid shape, but when you tab into edit mode, you'll see this grid, and that's exactly what we want. So go up here to mesh, transform, and then randomize, and this is where the magic's gonna start happening. So down here in the bottom left, we're gonna go ahead and crank the amount up a little bit, and that's gonna start making everything look all jagged and sharp. Now that's not quite what we're wanting, but hold on. Adjust the uniform amount a little bit as well. Now I encourage you to play with these values to make something that looks good to you instead of just copying exactly what I'm doing, but you can copy me if you want to. Now with everything selected, still in edit mode, go ahead and press Control B and we're gonna bevel these edges. So drag it up until they start looking like these smooth-ish rocks. Now right click and select Shade Smooth. Some might be a little jagged or a little bumpy, so we can add a subdivision surface modifier. I bumped mine up to level 2 just to make it look somewhat nicer. They're not gonna be perfect, but the lighting and the overall atmosphere is gonna be what's really selling this look. Go ahead and add a material to it and give it like a gray or a greenish color or whatever you want, and then I just bumped the roughness up to about 0.7, and that took off a lot of the shine, and I think that looks quite a bit better. At this point, I realized I needed a lot more floor space, so you could make one massive randomized array of cubes like we did earlier. What I ended up doing is I just duplicated this shape 4 times and just kind of rotate and offset them a little bit just to make it have some variance. Either way is totally fine, whatever works for you. Wouldn't recommend scaling the one shape up unless you just want a bunch of large rocks. And you might notice there's a bunch of gaps. So to solve that, all I did was just add a plane, and I just scaled it up to fit all of the rocks that we have and move it into place. And then I just assigned it a neutral color. Now to give the rocks some texture, I went to the shading tab and I added a noise texture. I plugged in from the color output to the normal input on the principled BSDF. From there, I was just playing with the sliders to see what kind of looked okay. Feel free to play around with the sliders a little bit and just see what looks nice for you, or copy what I have on the screen. And if you want a little bit more detail in your texture, what you can do is you can add a bump node and a color ramp node in between the noise texture and the principled BSDF. I'd set the bump node to about 1 on strength and just kind of play with the distance value till you get something you like. And on the color ramp node, I put just 2 different colors and I kept them pretty far apart with like a dark blue on one and a lighter green on the other to just give that even more depth. Okay, so now we get into something that was probably my favorite part of this whole process. So go over here to the World Properties tab, go down to Volume and add a Principled Volume shader, and then we're gonna move the density to about 0.01. Now to make sure this looks right, I'm using cycles for the render engine and using my GPU. It is gonna be a little bit more taxing on your computer, so if you don't have a super strong computer, it's probably gonna be a little bit slower, but this is how you're gonna get those cool light rays that I had in the render. Now to make these light rays, we need to add a light. So what I did is I went ahead and added an area light source and I raised it up on the Z-axis. Now one of the most important parts will be to adjust the spread. So we're gonna move it down to about 25, and then we can mess with the power to get the strength of the lights that we want and the size. Now by default, the shape is square, so we're also gonna change that to ellipse to give that circular look. And then just play with the overall power, see what kind of works for you. I ended up settling on about 200 watts. And then we just make sure we angle the lights to match the reference. I ended up settling on about 25-degree spread, and then I bumped the size up on the X value to about 2 meters. And that worked for me. I went ahead and just duplicated these lights and kind of adjust the angles of them, and then we give them a little bit of a warmer color to match the reference better. As you can see, I also have this big angled area light that's just kind of working as a fill light for the entire scene. You can kind of copy what I have here, or you can do your own thing. This just was what worked for me. I kept it the same color as the ray lights, and I thought it looked pretty nice. Now I want to make this pillar that's in the background in the reference image. I wasn't really happy with the way that I did it, but thankfully the overall project is about Hornet, and the rendering is going to be doing the heavy lifting as far as what we're actually going to see, so you don't really have to worry about having it too detailed. You can make it as detailed as you want to. But essentially what I did is I added a cylinder, and I stretched it out, rotated it a little bit, I used Control B and beveled the top to give it that rounder look, and then right click and shade smooth. I added this little dent up here just by grabbing a few of these edges and just moving it inward. At this point, I added a new material for it, made it like this greenish color, and moved it kind of where I wanted to have it. Go ahead and add a subdivision surface modifier. Now you might get this weird pointy bit at the end, at the bottom here. Now, all I did to just kind of fix that, even though it's gonna be pretty much hidden, I selected that edge loop, and then I pressed Shift E and dragged over to the right, and essentially that's gonna crease that edge, so you have a nice sharp edge. And that's just one great tip to use in a lot of different scenarios where you run into that same problem. And then I went ahead and applied that subdivision surface modifier. Now go ahead and add a multi-res modifier. that's going to give you more geometry to essentially sculpt with. There's a lot of different ways that you can make a pillar like this, and there's definitely better ways than what I did here, but since the pillar is not the focal point of the piece, I didn't worry about it too much. I just went through with like the draw brush and crease brush and kind of added a little bit of detail and deformities to make it look kind of worn, but you really don't have to go and do anything too crazy if you're going for a look like I had in the preview of this video. One of my favorite things to use with the crease polish brush is to make the initial crease and then to go back over it with a little bit of a larger size, but this time hold down Control while doing it, and it'll kind of bring that crease in closer together. It gets you those really nice sharper lines. So just continue to go through and start making some deformations. I was using the grab brush and smooth brush and just kind of pull and push and just make it look a little bit more worn and weathered. Now to add these little swirly spiral bits that are on the pillar, you'll need to enable an add-on that is free. It's called Extra Curve Objects, and it'll give you a few different extra shapes, but the one that we're gonna be using is the spiral. Now the spiral type that we're gonna want for this is Archimedean, so go ahead and select that. I adjusted the height to 0 in the little menu down here. That's gonna go ahead and flatten out the spiral, and then I rotated it on the x-axis by 90 degrees. From there, now we need to get it a little bit of thickness. Now come over here in the object data properties, and we're gonna go down to the bevel section and just increase the depth. I used 0.05, that worked for me, but feel free to use whatever looks good for you. Okay, so now we need to go ahead and get this stuck to the pillar. So go ahead and enable snapping. You can either use Shift Tab to enable snapping, or you can go up here to the little magnet and then enable snapping that way. And then once you select all the vertices, I'm in edit mode. Once you select all the vertices and try to move it, it'll just go ahead and snap it right on into place. I assigned a new material to the swirly and made it like a really dark gray, almost a black color. Now I went ahead and duplicated the shape. I rotated it some and shifted it down to give another little swirly on there. Okay, so now we get into the fun part. We are gonna go ahead and make the bushes using geometry nodes. Don't worry, I'm gonna try to make this part as simple as I can, and you can pretty much just copy what I have. I didn't really know what I was doing, if I'm being honest with you guys. I had to stumble through it for a while, but I'm gonna show you guys the quick and easy process of what I did. So go ahead and add a sphere. That's gonna be the overall base shape for what we're gonna be using, and then those leaves that we made earlier are going to be generated all over that sphere. Okay, and with your sphere selected, go ahead and go to the modifiers tab and then click new and go to geometry nodes and then select new in there as well. Go to the geometry nodes tab, and this part you can pretty much just copy what I have down, but I'll kind of give you like a little brief walkthrough of what I already have on the screen. Essentially what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a collection info node, and we are going to have that target the leaf base, which is the group of leaves that we made earlier, whatever you named it. So make sure you select that and add leaf base. And we're gonna use two really important nodes here. We're gonna use distribute points on faces and instance on points. And that's essentially what is gonna be the driving force for this. So we're gonna have the group input go from geometry to mesh on the distribute points on faces. Play around with the density value to see kind of what works for you. But I went with, around 150. From the points output, we're gonna drag that into the points input on the instance on points. And then I went ahead and added a realize instances node. Now keep in mind, if you do this, your performance might drop a little bit because it can increase your overall geometry count and stuff. I did this primarily so I could make further edits to the leaves and stuff if I wanted to and get a little bit better result, but you can skip this node if you don't want to use it. Okay, so for the rest of this, now we have the collection info going to the instance input on instance on points. Now make sure that you have your leaf base selected there. I also have originals selected, and then separate children and reset children. And then we need to add a little bit of randomness to the rotation. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a random value node and plug that value into the rotation input. You can play with the values there to see kind of what looks good for you, or you can copy what I have down. But that's essentially going to be rotating the individual leaves to give some variety. And then I went ahead and added a random value and plugged that into the scale input on instance on points. And I put a minimum value of 0 and a maximum value of 0.2. And that's just going to add a little bit of variety to the overall size of all of the individual leaves. So that's the overall setup. That should get you a good baseline to work with. And you can go crazier from there if you really want to. But this is just something fairly simple and straightforward that gets you an okay result. So the cool part is from there, you can actually grab that bush that we made. Now, we need to add some more bushes, so you can use either Shift D to just duplicate it. Now, if you do Shift D, it's gonna make a whole brand new one. It's gonna be using geometry nodes twice. So if your performance is starting to take a hit, you can use Alt D instead. And what that's gonna do is that's going to create another instance of that first object. Now keep in mind, if you make another instance, if you edit one, it's gonna edit all of them. So use that sparingly or, creatively. You can rotate the shapes and stuff like that, but if you're going to actually adjust the geometry, it's gonna adjust it on all of them. So just keep that in mind. And just start placing these bushes kind of where you want them to go. Now in the reference, there's these kind of cool spheres with these little swirls on them. So what I did for that is I really just added an icosphere and then added that spiral that we talked about earlier. But this time we're going to be using sphere instead of Archimedean, and that's going to give us that spherical shape on the spiral, which is pretty cool. In the operator menu in the bottom left, I went ahead and increased the turns up to 8. I felt like that looked pretty good for what we were trying to achieve. And then we need to add a little bit of thickness to this spiral as well. So go ahead and go over to Object Data Properties, go down to Bevel, and then I just added 0.01 depth. I tried using the extrude option under geometry at first, but I didn't really like the way that looked. So I just went with the bevel depth, and that made that round kind of look. And then I just bumped the resolution up to something around 8, and that looked pretty smooth and nice for me. Now you might need to scale up or down the spiral a little bit, but you can align it over the sphere and it'll fit pretty nicely. I just use the same material that I used for the ground fill, but any just kind of darker color is gonna work just fine for you. Once you're happy with how the spiral looks and feels, right-click on it and convert to mesh. Now from there, pretty much what you're gonna wanna do is just keep duplicating or creating new instances of the bushes and pulling them into place with the grab brush. Also, you can duplicate the little spheres, the little spiral sphere things that we made, and you can adjust the shapes of those and kind of just scatter them how you think would look good. It's gonna look weird, but we don't have all the lighting and everything set, so that's a big part of it. So the cool part is you can actually grab that bush and you can adjust the shape of it with the grab brush and just kind of pull it like you're sculpting it a little bit, which is nice. But just take your time and move everything into place. Pause the video if you need to. Something I forgot to mention in the first video, I'm just going to touch on it briefly here, but if you want to have Hornet's thread glow, then all you need to do is under the shader tab, add an emission node, just like I have here, and just crank that strength up a little bit, and I just kept the color white. But that'll give it a nice little bit of a glow to it, make it look a little bit more fancy. So now we just have some finishing touches, and to do that, we're just going to add these little particle effects. And the quickest and easiest way that I found to do it is just to add a sphere, scale it way down, and then under the shader tab, we went ahead and added an emission shader node, and I put that to a warm yellow and with the strength of 10. Then I just duplicated and scattered these throughout the scene in 3D and kind of adjusted the scale a little bit, but that gave a really nice overall kind of ambient effect. Now, if you made it this far, congratulations, you have Hornet completed in a cool stylized Hollow Knight environment. I hope you enjoyed this and you learned something. If you did, please give it a like and consider subscribing to my channel for more content like this. Let me know if you guys are enjoying the tutorials or if you'd just rather see more progress videos or just kind of whatever. We're still figuring out what we want to do on this channel, and I'll see you in the next one.